Hey y'all, this is Amanda with She's a Mad Gardener, and today I'm going to be getting some plants in the ground. I'm going to be planting St. John's Wort, also known as Hypericum berries, and these are for cut flowers. I'm going to be planting 2 of those today into the ground. I'm also going to be planting a couple of Japanese painted ferns in the ground and adding some caladiums to my front pots, my front porch containers, just because the tulips have finally died back, and so now it's time to replace those. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Man, that Texan accent just whipped out right there. And as always, make sure you drop me a comment. Let me know if you grow St. John's Wort or Hypericum berries. I'm growing it for cut flowers. I'd love to know if one of you guys is growing it for some kind of medicinal purposes or something along those lines. Can't wait to show you guys what I get done. And of course, when I said I actually meant my husband. But he's an awesome guy, and I asked him to dig these holes back here for me because I knew next to this retaining wall that we were going to run into rocks, that it was going to have a lot of clay because we do live in the North Texas area and the clay is just stupid awful. And so he did have to put a lot of work into this, but he dug out the holes about twice the size larger than we actually needed, removed all the clay. You can see him dumping it into that pot right there. And then once that was ready, we went back and backfilled with compost and fertilizer and then planted these 2 shrubs. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. Those of you who garden in clay soil know that it really just sucks. Like, that's legit where we're at. It just sucks. So anytime that I am planting, I remove as much of the clay soil in that area as I possibly can, backfill with compost and fertilizer, and then typically will mulch under it as well.
At least now I'm feeling better. I know I'm here to stay. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air.
So Jeff has been helping me in the garden for a lot of years. He knows to dig the hole, then to put the plant in the hole to make sure that the size is the appropriate size, which is great. He ended up pulling out a ton of rocks from these holes, so I was really happy that he worked on these for me. I did stop by to make sure that everything was going well, and it was. And once the holes were dug, I started by pouring compost into the base of the hole and then adding some plant tone fertilizer as well. Once I had that in the hole, then I went back with the plant, made sure the plant, the base of the plant was level with the ground, and then I backfilled with all compost, and it ended up taking a bag of compost per plant. And then once all that's done, a lot of times we go back and we'll add mulch around the base of the plant. This is all clay soil, so the more compost and mulch that I add, the more it's going to continue to break down the soil in that area.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries. We'll make our own way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd. Just you and me together, we'll all sing better outside. Just us.
And once you're done planting a new plant, make sure you go back and water immediately. Give it a nice deep soak. You want to water it really well, not only for the plants, but also to help all the soil settle around the base of the plant. Make sure you're getting rid of any kind of air pockets, anything like this. I usually will give them a nice soak and then come back later that day and give them one more soak just to be sure.
Are we part of this circus? Is it innate? Feels like a heavy burden can relate.
As I said earlier on, I am growing these Hypericum berries or St. John's wort for cut flowers. I'm growing 2 varieties by Monrovia. One is Chardonnay and one is Pinot. I guess somebody was on a wine kick when they were coming up with these names. But I did want to point out that both of these are deer and rabbit resistant. I have a lot of folks ask me about cut flowers that are good for those type of situations, and this is definitely one of them. And going into this next project, I didn't mention it at the beginning, but I had some coleus that I needed to get into the ground. I have this heated up yellow gaillardia on one side and these beautiful blue, penny blue violas on the other. And so I wanted to make it a really bold pop. So I came back with this rainbow coleus in 2 different varieties to put in here. That's these bright red tones. And I really felt that these would just be amazing in this space. As always, I laid out all of my plants first, and then I went back with plant tone to make sure everything was fertilized prior to planting each one of them.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries. We'll make our own way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air.
The next project are my planters on the front porch of the house. I had tulips in here earlier this season, and I'll pop up some photos so you can see them. Tulips are annuals in my area, so these had finished dying back, and now it's time to replace them. In fact, the bulbs have actually already rotted in the soil. So I added some plant tone, and I chose these light, bright caladiums. These pots are really interesting in that the back half of them gets shade, and the front half of them gets sun. So I thought these caladiums were the perfect compromise for a shady area with a bright color without adding another floral to the design.
Are we part of this circus? Is it innate? Feels like a heavy burden, but I can't relate. Do our actions even matter? Or is this our fate? At least now I'm feeling better. I know I'm here to stay. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air. Look up to the moon.
I apologize that I don't know this particular variety of caladium, but this was by Vigoro. It just was not labeled with the actual variety. And I did realize that I forgot to film myself planting my Japanese painted ferns, but here they are. They're tucked into a shady spot that I can see from the patio. And so I'll really look forward to watching these grow over time with just their unique, beautiful colors. Hope you guys enjoyed today's projects. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.